morning, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Thursday.
Today is Thursday Thoughts. And, we plan these topics in advance. And then sometimes they just land on our calendar at the exact right time that we are helping so many people with this exact thing, right? So, when to hire in your interior design business, strategies for growth. This is really scary to hire your first person, isn't it?
I think and I know I struggle with this. Hiring sounds like someone full time and big salary and benefits, and it seems like this huge beast. You're like, and a lot of our designers are like, I'm barely even paying myself a salary. There's no way I can afford to hire someone to help me. And I think things have changed very dramatically in the past 5-10 years. And that's what we're really excited to talk about today.
Yeah, and I want to highlight that sentence. I don't even pay myself. How am I supposed to hire someone? Like people get really on edge about that, and they want to
Yeah.
tell me I don't even pay myself. And you know what? Okay, but you should be paying yourself, even if it's the tiniest little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes with the way you're doing your business, you have to hire someone, whether it's part-time, full-time, virtual, in person, in order to get to the next level. So this is not, I have to be clear about this. This is not a one size fits all,
Right.
which is why when I see in the Facebook group, should I hire? How should I hire? Who should I hire? When should I hire? And I'm like, I hope then that, a slew of people answer it, which is wonderful, except please try to apply your own situation to it, right? What's in the bank? What's been coming in? What's your pipeline? What's your motivation to keep marketing? Once you hire someone, are you going to use that time that is taken away from you to use it properly, to do what you need to do in your business? Either get your procedures in place, get a bookkeeper, whatever you're looking to do, right? To get your business to the next level. So I think it's really hard to understand the signs of when to hire. So when you first hired, what were the signs?
I was feeling like I was spending a lot of time on things that I really struggled with. Bookkeeping's a great example. I can remember doing my own books for a long time, and one month I was off by 70 cents. I remember this so clearly. It was like 8 years ago. I spent about 10 hours trying to fix that problem. And I realized if I had billed out those 10 hours at my hourly rate, that alone would have more than paid for a bookkeeper for the month. And that's when it clicked for me. It's like, can I figure out QuickBooks? Probably, but I'm a bit dyslexic and numbers don't play nice with my eyes, and that's never fun. So that was a clear sign to me. I was overwhelmed with little tasks, and it was stuff that I wasn't good at. And for me, social media is another. I used to be a social media manager for a brand. I ran 2 social media accounts for home decor businesses.
Wow.
I didn't love doing it then, and I assure you, I don't love doing it now. And it's one of those things that, can I do it? Yes. Am I competent at it? Sure. But every week it was on my calendar to do it. I dreaded it. I put it off. I procrastinated. And that was another sign to me that it was time to let that part of my business go and hire that out, because it just gave me, it wasn't like, ooh, fun, I get to do this. I was like, oh, I don't know what to talk about. And I just felt overwhelmed, and it totally tanked my energy just thinking about trying to get that task done.
Yes. If you're waking up every day dreading going to work because you have so much to do and you can't get it done, it might be time to hire. If you're collecting money in the bank and just hoarding it while complaining that you're too busy, you should hire, right? If you want to grow to the next level and think, how am I going to do that? You might be ready to hire, right? Like you said, and we have something in our membership site about like what you love to do, what you are good at, and it's okay to do, but then what you hate to do and what you're not good at, right? To start assessing what should you be delegating. But I think what happens is when you decide, first of all, who to hire, let's talk about a full-time employee versus a 1099 contractor.
Yeah.
Right? So a full-time employee is somebody you have on payroll, and you have to take out Social Security, and sometimes you provide health benefits, and that all costs you a lot more money, right? Hiring a full-time employee, which some people are ready to do. But other people are like, I only need a couple of hours of assistance. So what do? You hire a virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Or you hire someone local, like a local mom who's just looking for a couple of extra hours. You can start simple. And I think that's what people don't always understand. You can start simple with just another body there to go bring these samples back, go pick this up, drop this off at the client's house, do me a favor, sit at this computer and blah, 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 blah. But people get so overwhelmed with how much they're trying to juggle themselves. They're like, who do I hire? Who do I hire that can do everything that I'm doing or has the skill to do it better than me?
Well, that's a bit of a trap. And early on in my design career, I got the advice when I was starting to get to that phase. I'm like, I'm getting too busy, which is a good problem to have. My first thought, and a lot of designers' first thoughts, is I need to hire a junior designer. I need to hire help. And what happens is that new junior designer ends up doing all the creative design work, and suddenly you, the designer, are doing all the admin and back end work. And so, great advice I was given was hire for administrative first. Get those tasks off your plate. So my first hire, besides a bookkeeper, was a virtual assistant who did my pricing, creates our quotes, tracks orders, places orders, pays vendors, all the admin stuff that makes my eyeballs want to melt off my face so that I can create, so that I can go out and meet clients and network and be productive. And that was so valuable. And I started with 5 hours a week with a virtual assistant through an organization. And it took the pressure off of like, okay, well, if it's 5 hours a week and they're doing all or 90% billable work, for every hour I'm paying X, I'm billing them out at Y. And it's literally making me money to pay someone else. And
Yes.
that is a big mindset hurdle that a lot of designers need to work through to embrace the fact that hiring at the right time in the right way will make you more money.
Yes. And I'm going to try to put numbers to that for everybody. So I'm going to try to keep it simple. If you charge your client $100 an hour and you're paying an assistant $25 an hour, and they work 1 hour on a client file that is billable against that client's money, you've now brought in the $100 an hour, $100 into your business that you can give now your assistant 3 additional hours of non-billable work to help you in your business. So for 1 hour of billable. So what I say is sometimes if you're going to hire an assistant, get them to do some of client file touch points that are billable to the client for enough hours to cover their salary. And then the rest of the hours, you can have them do whatever you want. And it's just gravy. Okay. So I hope
way to look at it.
It's hard for people to understand sometimes, but I want everyone to think about that. So yes, I think if you are loving the creative side and you want to be the lead designer and you want to do all the design and all the sourcing and all the fun stuff, hire admin first. But believe it or not, I have quite a few clients in my history of coaching that came from the corporate world where they were supervisors, managers, vice presidents, and they want to be a CEO of a design business.
They're in this for the business side of it and that high level visioning, which means I'm assuming you're going to say they do need to hire a designer.
They hate, like they don't like the initial creation of the design. Like, no, I shouldn't say hate. It's just something they wouldn't mind delegating. Like, hey, here's the client. This is what the client said. Here's some inspiration from the principal designer, me. But now go do and create the whole design and just meet with me and let's go over it. And I fine tune and I tweak it. I put my personal stamp on it and then go. So if you are more of a business minded designer running or growing a design firm, you could hire a designer. If you are really, truly, I love the creative side, I want to do all the design, then your first hire should be an admin. So this is why I say be so careful when you're taking other people's advice, because when you and I are giving people advice, we're really digging into what do they like to do? What do they hate to do? What's their struggle? What are they avoiding doing that's going to keep their business alive? And we point to that first. Okay, you're avoiding this, your bookkeeping, let's say, or you really suck at it and you don't really understand your numbers because you're not doing your bookkeeping, then hire a bookkeeper first, right? We assess what they're doing. So please assess, everybody, when you're looking to hire that first person or second, third, or fourth. What I did yesterday with one of my one-on-one clients is literally we created our dream org chart. And I do this all the time. Okay. What's my dream for my business? Okay. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this is what I vision. You write out that whole org chart. Now you go, okay, if you're a one man or woman show, I'm doing all those hats. If I have one person already, well, I have a bookkeeper already. Excellent. That role is filled in your ideal org chart.
Yeah.
What's next to hire that's going to give you the most relief? And then decide, am I hiring full time with benefits and vacation and this and that? Or am I too new to do that and I'm afraid of that? Let me hire a 1099 contractor virtual assistant or someone local that you're just paying by the hour as needed for specific functions that you want them to accomplish. So I hope that all makes sense to everyone who's going to listen. But here's the thing about the nuance between a contractor and an employee. You have to be so careful about the laws.
Yes. And it varies from state to state, country to country. So look into it and make sure you are following the laws, because that is not something you want to mess around with if you have miscategorized someone as a contractor who legally should be a part-time employee.
Correct. And again, you can take a chance and take a risk like some people do. But you have to make sure that you understand the risk you're taking as a business owner, right? So technically, contract employees shouldn't be required to show up at a specific time, leave at a specific time, and have certain functions that they have to do within that time. Contract employees technically can have their own business, can work for other people, and they take your projects, you hand them a project, you say, I'm hoping this takes about 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever, and they get to do it whenever they want to do it, as long as it's by your deadline. So technically, contract employees run their own lives knowing what projects they have for their separate employees, okay? An employee, show up at 9, leave at 5, have a lunch. These are your functions. Here's your job description. It's like a different animal.
Completely different, yeah.
But you have to nuance it as you're growing your business to say, you know what, I think I'm okay with a contract employee for a while, but once you start giving them steady work, eventually you would look into with your accountant making them employees. Okay, so that's the right way to do it if you're going to do it right. And it's a very cost-effective option, a virtual assistant versus a full-time employee. And a lot of the designers work out of their homes and they don't want people in their homes.
I'm an introvert. I don't want someone here all day long. Drives me nuts. And I've got a good growing business. It is steady. It is thriving. I'm grateful for that. And I'm the only full-time person, but I do have a bookkeeper that I pay every month a flat fee to do all that stuff, bookkeeper and CPA, virtual assistant, social media person. I hire at my renderings. And for local installs and things, I have hired a local mom. She's awesome. She's a Montessori teacher. And when she's on breaks from Montessori, she's available and she's coming with me to help with a big install this month.
Nice.
So I found, for me, that's a dream team. And for some people, they might be like, well, unless I have full-time employees, I'm not running a business. You get to choose what works for you. For me, I love being light and nimble and flexible.
Yeah.
I've got the people that can do the things. I can dive in full-time, and that is working so well for me. And it's so interesting that people probably look at me from the outside and assume I have a much bigger team or a huge staff. And it's like, it's not. And I love it this way. And it works so well. So this really is very individual, very personalized. Yeah.
Yeah. Even another one of my one-on-ones just had a baby. She's overwhelmed. She's got some really big jobs. She's a celebrity designer, and she already has some employees, but she's drowning. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about your personal life. And she just hired a mommy's helper, because when I was running a business and growing a business, I had 3 young kids. I hired a mom's helper, a local kid. And back then it was really cheap. Now it's not going to be that cheap. But she found a sort of nanny type personal assistant. And I just said, make sure you tell her not just watching the kid. If the baby's okay, can you also do a little food prep, or can you put in a load of laundry or switch a load of laundry? Like, make sure you're putting things. So you can hire in your interior design firm is what this live is about. But I don't want to miss the fact that sometimes your first hire is someone in your personal life to make it okay for you to be working and make you feel calm and get a good night's sleep and know your child or responsibilities are being taken care of without you being there, right? I think I'm going to say, as women, although I know I have a lot of male followers as well, but as women, we just are everything to everybody, right? We're moms, we're companions and spouses, and we're daughters or sons. We run a household, we have animals, and we run a business. And we're taking care of ourselves, hopefully, which is should be number one. It's hard to fit everything in the same amount of time that everyone else in the world has. So how do some people do it better?
Well, it is, and that help allows you to focus. I mean, it's like how you said hiring for your personal life, like the hour or 2 of babysitting, if you can pay your babysitter X, and again, and you get 2 hours of focused work and you're billing Y, it is it works, and I love that about it.